Okay, cool. So we have a quick 30-minute or so workout. Mostly it's a little bit of mobility. It's a little bit of work with a resistance band. And the way we're going to do it, nice and simple, is we're going to start with just like soft, gently making our movements, getting used to our movements, warming up certain areas, those kinds of things. We're going to do some work later. And then we'll move into a couple of sets of work through some big compound movements. A bit of kind of postural, kind of back strengthening situation as well, really start to invigorate and feel the muscles in the back. And then we'll finish off with a little bit of stretching at the end. So it's not like this is not meant to be by any means a, oh my God, I'm so sweaty and I'm so tired and so achy kind of workout, but it's more kind of a, I would say, a nice gentle kind of session for us to be able to feel better and more confident and really use certain areas of our body correctly. Okay, so all you're really going to need from yourself today is a little bit of space. You are going to need a resistance band. Just a nice big long one is what we want, and you'll see why. There's a few movements that we're going to use it for. You might want to make sure that you've got a little bit of water, something along those lines, and that'll be fine as well. Hopefully, like I say, hopefully 20 minutes or so, 25, 30 minutes, maybe with the stretching as well. Maybe an hour if you do the video twice. Who knows, back to back. Anyway, so nice and easy to start with. Like I say, we're just going to start from the ground up, just awaken a few parts of our body, our muscles and those kinds of things. So starting from the floor, we're just going to roll your feet up onto your toes. That's it, so we're rolling back, so all your weight's on your heels and it's all up on the toes. What you're trying to do with your upper body is just keep a good solid posture position. So think about putting your shoulder blades into your back pockets. And what that does, that has the appearance and the feel of dragging your shoulders back towards your rear and your chest pronouncing high. What I like to start doing now is just holding it for about a second when you're on your tiptoes. Now, if your balance isn't great here, don't worry about that. Just find yourself a wall, do the work next to the wall, okay? You can see already that's going to help with your balance. Also make sure with your feet that they are placed north and south, so straight forward, and also make sure that they're staying that way when you come up onto your toes. Brilliant. And we're just going to take ourselves down to the floor for a couple of exercises next. We're going to get down and have a look at just awakening our hamstrings. So what I'd like you to do is, rather than a normal glute bridge where you bring your feet all the way up to your bum, just go ahead and give yourself a little bit more space between your bum and your heels. Then what I'd like you to do is bring your toes high, okay? And then we're just going to take a couple of bridges from there. Nice and easy, those bridges. Pushing those hips as high as you can through the movement. Then go ahead and give yourself a little bit more space. And then the same situation. You're just pushing those hips up as high as you can go. Nice and easy. Now what I'd like you to start doing is holding it at the top. And then bringing it back down. Up it goes, holding it at the top, bringing it back down. Holding it at the top, bringing it back down. Lovely stuff. Going to do a couple more now. Remember, each one of these movements is just nice and in control, and it's going to go through your comfort and your range of motion today, because that may be different to mine. Okay, so same body position. And this time what we're going to do is we're going to raise our hips up again. We're going to hold our hips high, and then our feet are going to do a little bit of walking on the heels. So I raise my hips high and I'm walking as far away as I can. Just step away, and then I'm stepping back up as far as I can. The whole time, and then you go back down again. The whole time what I'm trying to do is just keep those hips as high as I can. Tiny little steps if you can. And you are trying to go out as far as you can before bringing yourself back up. Now there is a certain element of core involved here obviously as well, so do make sure you are controlling that core. That core is engaged, especially the further your legs get away from your bum. From there, lovely. And we're just going to go down to the bottom one more time, as far as you can go away, and then all the way back up again. And the hips are coming down. Big deep breaths. Now at any point during these bridging motions, whether it is the heel bridges, the walking out, or the next glute ones we're going to do in a moment, if you feel any kind of situation in your lumbar, that's your lower back, just above your butt crack kind of area. Generally, if you feel anything there, it's because your core's not engaged, your core's not doing a lot of work, okay? So there's more work being done on the spine itself. And depending on the position you put the spine in, depends on the kind of pain and the problem you can have there. So really engage that core. If you still can't sort it out, take a rest. Give yourself 3, 4, 5 seconds, maybe 10, 15. The core is possibly fatigued and is not doing its job, okay? So this time what we're going to do, same situation, but this time your feet are flat on the floor. Your feet are close up to your bum. And as you're squeezing up, you're squeezing the butt cheeks when you get to the top. So there's almost like a half a second to a second hold at the top of the bridge. This time, squeezing the butt cheeks. And just like when we were rolling through our feet earlier, rolling through our heel to the toe, we are trying to keep our feet facing in some kind of walking position. So toes facing directly forward, heels behind, obviously in that nice straight line, parallel. And we're trying to control the feet, the legs. So the knees aren't coming together, they're not going far apart, they're staying parallel to each other, okay? So they're only tracking where your toes are pointing. Let's go ahead and just hold it at the top for 5 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's release. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So let's go up again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's release. And then one final time. Up we go. Big squeeze of the glutes. Remember when you're at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And back down again. Good. Okay, so what we might need on this one is a chair. I should have said that at the beginning, so you do need a bit of space and a little bit of this, that and the other. But you can always pause the video, obviously, get yourself a chair. This is a great one to do if you work at an office all the time. And if you've got 2 minutes spare or 3 minutes spare, this will also definitely be one of the ones that I put in the office mobility video. So if you haven't checked that out already, you can do at some point when it's on the channel. All I'm going to ask you to do is you're sitting up nice and straight, your ankles are under your knees, and I'm going to ask you to take one hand, drive it down to the opposite side, and you're looking to get down towards your ankle. So you're just going down as far as you are able to do, and we're just going to do that 10 times, nice and slow. There's no jerky movements here, it's nice and slow. And it's as far as your range of motion is going to let you go, okay? Maybe you're holding onto the side of the chair with the arm that you're not using as well, just for stability reasons. One of the things you also want to think about is your shoulders. We don't want to drive our shoulders up towards your ears. We don't want to reduce the space here. We want to keep them planted down and back in that good postural position as much as we can. So remember, we're doing about 10. So I'm up to 8, I think, maybe. Nice and slow. Maybe you give yourself half a second at the full range of motion before you come back up. And then obviously we're going to do 10 on the opposite side as well. So as far down as your range of motion goes, what you may notice whilst you're doing this is that your range of motion down one side is different to the other side. That's certainly what I notice. I certainly notice a lot stiffer going this way. So that's just pointing out kind of imbalances in the body. Probably your dominant side, when you use that hand to reach over, is a little bit better. That kind of thing. So remember, we're going up to 10 again. Trying to keep that good upper body posture as much as we can. It's a nice slow movement. Those feet are in contact with the earth the entire time. From there, lovely. I think that's about 10. Okay, next exercise, we're going to use our bands for the first time. Now, you only want to go ahead and grab one of the bands. You don't need to double up on the bands or anything like that. We're going to do a little bit of stretching, and depending on how much give there is in your band, how thin it is or how elasticated it is, depends on what your movement will look like here, okay? But here's the basis of it. I want good upper body posture, shoulders driving down to the back pockets. We're going to take those elbows, press them in against your ribs or just below your ribs into your waist. Those elbows don't come out of contact with the waist at all, okay? Palms facing each other or palms facing down, whatever you prefer. All we're going to do is pull the band and hold it for 10 seconds. Here we go. Pull it. 1, 2, 3. And you're just holding it statically. 7, 8, 9, 10. And we're letting go. So remember that posture, that whole situation. That's what we're looking to get. We're looking to engage and activate a bunch of muscles in your back, a bit of rhomboid. You maybe feel a little bit of lats, something along those lines. All these muscles around the back which are stabilizing and help control the shoulder along with your rear delt and things like that, okay? So it's shoulders back, shoulders down towards your back pockets. You've got that rotation almost going on as we statically hold and pull. So let's do it again. So remember, elbows into the waist. We've got good upper body posture. We roll back and down and we pull. 1, 2, 3, 4, halfway there. 8, 9, 10, and we let go. We're going to do that one more time. Same situation. First time I did it, palms facing each other. Second time, palms down. It doesn't really matter. It's just what you prefer to use from a grip point of view, okay? The things that do matter, those shoulders back and down, those elbows clamped against your side, and that's the movement just there. Boom, boom, or as far as you can take it, okay? If you've got a very high resistance band, maybe you've only got a tiny bit, but it's getting to the end of that resistance and holding it there is what we're looking for, okay? Let's go final time. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're halfway, so keep hold, keep that core engaged. 8, 9, 10. Lovely. Same situation, this time at full arm's length. We're trying to keep the arms as straight as we can for this one. Same back body posture, palms down, palms facing, whatever you prefer. Starting at shoulder height, shoulder level, and that's where we're looking to keep it. Let's go, 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're halfway, keep it going. 9, 10, and we relax. Okay, we're going to do that 2 more times. Look into it, get that back nice and awake, get a good bit of momentum going on there. That's going to help us move into some of the movements in a moment, okay? This is particularly good for helping with squat, with this squat position. We're starting to teach the brain. This is all it's about, is teaching the brain to use muscles. That's what we're looking to do, engagement of those muscles. Final time then, arms out, shoulder width, palms down, out we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. And remember, we're doing it 3 times, so this isn't the last time. We've got 1 more after this. 10. And when you are doing it, and when you are stretched, and when it is stressed out there, don't compromise the body position. Keep firing those shoulders down. Keep firing that chest forward, those kind of things. We want to get as much engagement down here as we possibly can. Okay, final time, 10 seconds. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's half. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, brilliant. Okay. Final one we're going to do during this section is, I call them cheerleaders, because it's like, yay, yay, from there, okay? It's a dynamic movement. There's not as much static holding as there was in the last set. okay? But what we're looking to basically do is we're trying to keep our arms straight the entire time. Arms straight the entire time. Once again, you're only going to hold one of the bands. If you double up, then it's going to make it super hard for you. And we're just looking to engage at the moment. So we're basically going to have the arms out. One's going high, one's going low. And then we just pull away from each other and then return. And then we swap away from each other and return. So just like all our other movements, think of all those kind of points I'm telling you about. That body position, back and down. Shoulders in our back pockets, that's what we're looking to do. Straight arms, that's what we're looking to do. Not looking to lose any space between shoulders and ears. So don't start shrugging up here or anything like that. We want that space between the two. And we're going to do a set of 12. And then we're going to do a second set of 12. And then we're going to get into some other bits and bobs, okay? So, our start position, remember, good upper body position. Arms are out in front of us. One is staggered up, one is staggered down, and we're pulling away from each other. Set of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's halfway. 7. And it's just as far as you can take it, remember. Whatever your range of motion is allowing you to do here, that's all we're looking for. You may have like a very thin resistance band, in which case maybe you're going even further. Still key on everything, still key on those shoulders back and down. Still key on straight arms. Remember, everything we're doing in this session is not about high heart rate. It's not about sweating as much as you can, unless you're in a room like me, which is an absolute sauna. It's not about any of those things. This is about perfecting body movement, increasing mobility, and increasing our body's awareness of what it's doing and engaging the right muscles through it, okay? So we're gonna do that one more time. It's up to 12, remember. If you've still got your seat, maybe you're still sat in a seat for the last couple of ones, it's fine. From the hips up is what we're looking for most here. It is that good engagement. All that's happening if you stood up as well is it's a little bit more core intensive, as if you could try and control the situation a little bit more. Okay, so start in position, shoulders back and down. Arms are out in front of you, one slightly higher. We're up to 12, remember. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't break that posture. Don't let those shoulders drive up towards the ears. 8. I'm at 8, I think, anyway. 9. 2 to go. Lovely stuff. So you're going up to 12, remember. So if I've gone a little bit fast there, don't stop right away. Just keep going till you've done your set of 12, okay? Good. All right, so let's look at a few movements then using the band. And for both of these movements, we're going to use the band in the same position. Okay, so the position we're going to use it in, we've got the whole screen. Let's get on the blue pad, shall we? In fact, we're not going to use them in the same position. So the first movement we're going to do is the squat, okay? Change of plan. What I'd like you to do is you're going to step on the elastic band, rubber band, resistance band, whatever you want to call it, okay? And then you're going to pull up the band as far as you can until there's no resistance left in it, okay? What I'm going to ask you to do then is take yourself down into a squat, hold it there, grab hold of the band, and then I'm going to ask you to come up out of your squat, okay? And it gets heavier as you come up, and then as you come down nice and controlled, the resistance fades, and as you come up, the resistance goes back on, okay? So as you're pushing away from the floor, the resistance is coming on. So key points before you give this a go. We're going to do a set of 12. Key points. Body posture. You are squatting, you are coming down, your bum's going out, you're rolling your shoulder blades into your back pockets, all those kinds of things. When you grab hold of this resistance band at the bottom of your squat, you're bringing it to the chest. Bringing it to the chest, trying to keep elbows in, okay? Elbows in at the chest. So ideally, what's happening from a side view is the elastic band itself is almost in a straight line from floor up, okay? So it's tracking the same. Now there's two ways to make this more difficult if you find that it's not tight enough, if there's not enough resistance there, okay? The first way is just to get a little bit of extra slack between your legs before you squat, because obviously that means the band's going to be tighter. And then the other way is to, when you're at the bottom of your squat, make sure you're grabbing a lot more so there's looseness at the top of it as well, okay? So either way, when you're squatting up, I want you to keep this in almost like a prayer position, a namaste position, the whole time here, elbows driven in from there. So don't let it lean forward, don't let it come away from the body or anything like that. It is literally, boom, with your squat down and up at the top, okay? So get yourself set. We're going to do a set of 12, starting from the bottom, okay? So we've got the resistance on, off at the moment. We've just got the band tight. So we go down to the bottom of our squat. We load up and we're up for 1. And we're just going to do that 12 times. 3. Now just if you can, just ignore the band. It might be flicking at your knees and that kind of thing. As you can see with mine, ideally you're going to have the band in between your knees as you go. Keep those hands nice and tight against the chest. Keep those elbows in as best you can. And I've completely lost count again. Hopefully you haven't, but I'm going to do 2 more. Remember, we're doing 12 in total. Nice and slow, and there we go, good. Lovely, so that is kind of a resistance squat. We're going to do that one again. Thinking about all those keys, those shoulders are back, this kind of shoulders down in the back pockets. This is going to be a key. Every class, every one of these I'll do in the gym when you're squatting, when you're deadlifting. Good posture, upper body posture is key to the whole thing. And dare I say it, if you work at a desk and you can maintain a good posture, it will almost help eliminate all the problems you may have, upper body, shoulders, lower back, those kinds of things from working over a desk. Good posture, if you're using the body how it wants to be used and it's nicely balanced and tuned, you're not going to have the problems. So good posture, driving those shoulders back and down. When you are squatting, think, I could read my top. If I had a cheesy slogan, I obviously don't. You would be able to read that in the mirror if it was in front of you. Okay, so keep that chest high throughout the whole lot. Okay, let's go again. Feet standing on the elastic band, the resistance band, whatever you want to call it. We pull it tight. We're not stretching it, we're just pulling it tight. Down in the squat, make the adjustment, make it tight, and let's go. There's 1. And we're going to 12, remember. I'm going to try and remember this time how many I've done. There's 3. And you are firing those glutes through at the top, okay? Make sure that we are standing up straight at the top. Don't be like having your bum stuck out. Don't be slightly led forward or anything like that. I think I'm at 9 now. Hopefully you're keeping count yourself. Last one, and here we go. Boom. And down. Good. That's 2 of 3 we've done. Hopefully you're a little bit more sensible than me and you brought more water if you are thirsty. I had the tiniest little bit left. What a shame. Okay. Final time then. Set of 12 again. Upper body posture. Resistance pushing up from the floor. Arm, namaste position, right at the chest, elbows tucked in. Tuck the elbows in just because it makes a more stable, strong position to hold that band. Anytime you introduce a joint to any strength-based situation, it makes it more difficult. So if my elbows are away from the body, the stress that's happening right now is harder for me to hold, okay? The stress on my arms, My upper body is hard to hold because there's now another joint involved, which is the elbow. If the elbows are tucked in, they're out of the way. No one can grab it, no one can use them because they're forced into my side. They're not being used as much, so the whole thing becomes a lot sturdier and stronger. Okay, so final time, elbows tucked in, chest high, shoulders in our back pockets. Resistance bands under our feet. Bands tight, not stretched, okay? Down with the squat. Now we grab the loose and we're up for 1. Now we've got that extra resistance. I'm up to 3, we're going to 12, remember. And you're going down as far as you can, obviously each and every one. You set the resistance so there was none at the bottom of your squat. So it's going to help pull you down a little bit. And wouldn't you know it, I've forgotten where I am again. Hopefully you're keeping count at home. I'm going 2 more. There's 1 more. Here's 2. Lovely. Okay, good stuff. So we're going to introduce a new movement now. It's called the Good Morning. And basically all we're going to be doing is taking a bow. That's it. A bow forward. A good morning. That's it. Okay, the idea right now is we want to keep a couple of parts of the body nice and strong and sturdy. First and foremost, upper back. Good posture position that we keep banging on about. Shoulders back and down. Okay, we're folding at the hips. We're not bending the back. We're folding at the hips. So as you're going down, keep your eyes up at the horizon. Okay, wherever you're folding, keep your eyes up the entire time. Okay, boom. Legs for the most part are staying straight-ish. Okay, you're not locking the legs out, anything like that. There may be a soft little bend on there as you come into it. Okay, depending on how tight your hamstrings and glutes are, those kinds of things will really depend on how far into the bow you get. Okay, so for myself, for example, very tight hamstrings, I can come down to right there, and I can already feel this on my hamstrings. Okay, so now I can feel it going in more and more into my hamstrings here. Okay, so this is where we want to feel the load. If you feel the load in your knees, I would recommend you go ahead and just bend your knees a little bit more. Okay, there's a whole bunch of reasons why you could be feeling in your knees, from tight hams, tight calves, those kinds of situations. Anytime you do any exercise and you feel it in a joint, we want to take a step back. We want to reevaluate how we're doing that movement, because generally you shouldn't feel stretching or pain or anything like that in joints themselves. Yes, we should feel fire, we should feel stretch type situations in muscular areas if you're doing work there, but joints is a no-no. So let's just go ahead and do 5 to start with without the resistance band, and then we'll add it on from there. Okay, so all I'm going to get you to do is you're just going to stand there nice and normal, and you're going to set those little soft legs. Keep your good upper body posture, and you're just bowing forward and keeping the head high, and you're just taking yourself as far forward whilst maintaining that good back structure as you possibly can. And remember, we should be feeling this on the backs of your thighs and your hamstrings. If it's more in your knees, just give them a little bit more of a soft bend. I'm going to do 1 more from there. Lovely stuff. Okay, so that's our general movement. Okay, so how we're going to introduce the resistance band to that, it's quite simple. All I'm going to ask you to do is pop your feet inside just like we did before. Okay, now this time we're going to put it over our shoulders. Now this is an important distinction. Okay, it's over our shoulders, it's not our neck. So we're not placing it here on our neck. Okay, we don't want it there at all. We want it further back towards our shoulders. Okay, so the way we're going to get into it is you've got your feet in position on the resistance band, and what we're going to do is we're going to squat on down, set it up, hands on the band, bring it on up. Okay, I'm setting my band now, it's on my shoulders, it's not on my neck. Okay, at no point during this position is it forcing my head down. Is there any resistance on my neck? Okay, this is 100% on our shoulders. Okay, and so how does this bring ourselves into the good morning? We do the same movement now with the resistance bands on. Okay, so soft bend in the knees, and it's just a forward fold as far and then straight back up. So you're just taking yourselves down as far as you can and then folding back up. We're going up to 10 this time, so that's number 3. Back structure the whole time. Good work. You may want to hold on to the band. Okay? But like I say, that band position is going to be super key. Because if you haven't got it on the meat of your shoulders, if you have not got it there, and it is on that neck, not only is it putting too much stress through your neck itself, but it's also going to be very uncomfortable through the movement. And that's not what we want at all. So do make sure that that band is in good position. Lovely. 10. And to take it off, just down and off it goes. So we're going to do one more set of 10 of the good mornings. And then we'll go from there. So I said it would be 20 to 30 minutes. We've already hit the 30-minute mark. So it's probably going to be more 30 to 40 minutes, I think. Okay, so last one then. And then we'll stretch out and we'll be done for the workout. But once again, unless you're in a nuclear warm room like I am right now, you're probably not sweating, and that's fine because we're perfecting movements, remember. The work we did at the beginning was all about trying to engage specific muscles for movement, trying to program the brain to understand where those muscles are, how to use them, and all those kinds of things. At the end of the day, all your body is like, and your mind is just like a big computer, okay? The brain, which is obviously the center point, the CPU, can only do with the rest of the body what it's programmed to do. So if there's certain movements that you haven't done, if there's certain movements you did prior to injuries, if there were movements that you've never done and you haven't done for a long time as well, all these things, okay, the body forgets and adjusts, okay? So if you've hurt yourself, your body will find a different way to do the same movements so it doesn't feel the same kind of pain. If you've never done a movement and the brain doesn't have the code. If you haven't done it for a long time, well, I mean, we've all got that friend that we haven't seen for a long time whose name we can't remember, so you know. So it's only by doing these things consistently and consistently telling the body about these different movements and these engagements that the brain keeps remembering, and it keeps remembering, okay? So we're going to do the good mornings one more time, a set of 10. And then we're going to do some stretching and disappear for the rest of the day kind of thing, okay? So remember, our setup position, rubber bands on the floor. We've got 1, we've got 2 feet on it, okay? We're just going to squat on down. And here's another important thing I should say actually, is we're squatting down and bringing the band up from a squat rather than folding down and bringing ourselves up, okay? The reason for this is I want you to power up in a squat in a good position rather than be in a bad position, all bent over out of shape to bring it on up, okay? If we're all in all kinds of bad shape putting it on and we just stand up, if we haven't got the right engagement and firing, we might stress our spine in situations that we don't want, okay? So we're getting down into that squat position. We're getting the band, remember, it's on our shoulders. Boom, and we're up. It's on the shoulders, remember. It's not on our neck. If you need to adjust it, you can pull the resistance up with your hands so it loosens it, change it around at the back, shuffle it on, and then stand up again. But it's on our shoulders and at the back, okay? It's certainly not on the neck. Okay, so I feel super weird. There's people looking at me outside at the moment, but let's ignore them. So we're stuck. Good body posture, shoulders are back and down. And it's 10 forward folds. Remember, You're going as far as your range of motion allows you. At some point your body might scream and not want you to go any further, and that's fine. Okay? The important things to remember are upper body posture. You're going as far as you can whilst maintaining that upper body posture. If that's tiny, fine, that's all we are today. If it's all the way folding, fine, brilliant, okay? But it's just 10 times, okay? Bum's going out, folding, and then up again. Keep looking up at the horizon the entire time. As you're coming up, once again, we're going slowly, but it's almost like you're driving that head back towards some kind of backflip, okay? Forward fold. Don't worry, my recorder has literally just stopped recording, so you're going to 10, remember, with these. Forward fold, all the way back. So hopefully I fixed that, and these have both been spliced together. Yeah, because otherwise, whoopsie. Anyway, your forward folds will going to 10, and each one, like every movement, is just slow and as far through your range of motion as you can take it today. Brilliant. All right, lovely. So let's go ahead and finish off with just some little stretching. Now it's important to note that for the most part, static stretching is only as relevant as your consistency to do it, okay? If you're only doing static stretching once a week after a class, if you're only doing static stretching once a week after a gym session or after running or something like that, the changes in your body that you want just aren't going to happen, unfortunately. A good stretching regime is something that you're going to have to do very, very regularly. I'd recommend, at least 5, 7, 10 times a week kind of situation, a static stretching regime, especially if you have injuries or you have ranges of motion that you actually want to change, okay? So that's one of the big things that you can do to change range of motions is stretching. The other thing to do is a good weights program as well, because a good weights program, by definition, will help you change your range of motion as well. If you have one strong muscle versus one weak muscle, muscles work in pairs. So if you've got one, that bicep and tricep is a great example here, okay? Bicep pulls the arm up, the tricep, which is his muscle underneath, will push it away, okay? If you have one stronger than the other, one weaker, okay, obviously your ability to move weight through that plane will be different. Also, what can happen is you will have postural changes as well. So maybe your range of motion will be reduced because one muscle will be tight, one muscle will be loose, that kind of situation. This is prevalent in the office world when you use laptops. Chest becomes very tight because we're engaged over like this onto laptops and desks. Back's not being used, gets weak. Postural change happens. So your range of motion changes. So the only way, one of the other ways along with stretching is a good weights regime, like I say, so that you're strong through both muscles in the pair, okay? Both the working and the antagonist muscles. So that's what we're looking to make sure that's happening as well. Stretching is going to help us with our range of motion, our body's understanding the pain receptors which are being sent the messages to the brain, make them more comfortable with that so it goes through the range of motion a little bit more. But also a good strength regime is going to help. Yes, great, brilliant. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I always like to recommend stretching against the wall or something like that, mostly because I'm lazy and I'm generally watching the TV sat against the sofa or those kind of things. But I also think it's very important because it will help support your structure, okay, which will enable you to get a better stretch in. So, example, I'm just sat against the wall right now. And the first stretch we're going to do today is just on our hip flexors, okay? So soles of the feet together, and then we're just going to push on down on the knees. So by doing this against the wall, I've got a really good posture in my upper body. Now, sure, there's not a lot of extra work going on there. I'm not really engaging my core as much if I was away from the wall, but it's allowing me to concentrate on the stretch. For me, my number one goal with stretching is the muscles themselves. That's more important than a full body situation. So I like to, like I say, isolate as much as I can in this stretch. Sitting against the wall supports my upper body, allows me to get a better stretch on. I'm also, like I say, super lazy as well, so I'm probably generally watching TV in this situation. Then I'm going to ask you to do is go ahead, shoot your legs out as wide as you possibly can. already just good upper body posture. Okay, leaning against that wall, make sure the lower back is against the wall as well. Just by opening your legs up, you'll feel a stretch already on. Super lazy, I'm not doing anything and I'm getting a great stretch on here. Okay, we're going to take advantage of that and just go through a few other stretches. There's one in our back which is notoriously tight, the QL, and all we're going to do is from this position here, I'm going to get you, whilst keeping your back against the wall, to drive your forearm towards the mat beside you. So it's kind of a shuffle on over, trying to get your forearm to the floor as much as you can. Both butt cheeks stay in contact with the floor, and we're shuffling over, good flat back against the wall, okay? If you get there easily, you want to extend the stretch a little bit more. Maybe the hand comes over the top as well, creates this wonderful bit of space as well for more of a stretch as well. If you're super flexible, maybe you can even go past the forearm down here as well. But I've got a bad back at the moment, so I shan't be doing that. And then obviously we've gone down one side, so let's take it all the way through to the other side as well. Helps if you don't have a plug socket right by it as well. All the way through, back's flush against that wall, good body posture against it, as far around as you can take it. Lovely stuff. Okay, next thing I'm going to ask you to do, just go ahead and cross your legs. And then we're just going to bend ourselves forward. So it's a nice slow situation. You're breathing out as you go forward, as you're folding on over. So good body posture. You're going to take that good body posture as far as you can. When you can't take the fold anymore, that's when you're going to curl the back towards the floor. Ideally, we're looking to get our forearms towards the floor. Both butt cheeks are still firmly planted on the floor through this one. And then obviously what we're going to do next, nice and slowly bringing ourselves up again. Just cross your legs the opposite way. And then we're just going to repeat that stretch as well. And once again, this is one you might feel completely different depending on which way you've got your legs crossed. When I cross my legs this way, I feel it a hell of a lot more in my hip flexor than I do the other way around, okay? It's very good at showing you where tightnesses are and stretching them out. Lovely stuff. And we're going to go up on our hands and on our knees, sorry. Roll your toes underneath. I'm going to ask you to sit on your heels, put all your weight through them. We're stretching out the feet on this one. This is a great one for helping if you've got plantar fasciitis, if you're a runner, those kinds of things. I can't recommend it enough. It really hurts the first couple of times you do it, sorry. Really, really hurts. But the more you get used to it, the more your pain boundaries change and it becomes more of a good stretch. Whilst we're here, let's make use of this situation. Take the hands behind the back and just pushing them down and away from the shoulder blades as well. Lovely stuff. Okay, so it was a little bit longer than I said it was going to be. Hopefully if I've managed to splice the videos together. But have a wonderful day. As always, if you've got any questions, you want to know anything, just let me know. Otherwise, have a great one. Boom, high five.